Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Warriors trade pitch flips Andrew Wiggins, picks for $23 million sharpshooter. 2 years removed from their last championship, and fresh off of Klay Thompson's free agency exit, the Golden State Warriors are big game hunting on the NBA trade market. They made a run at luring Paul George to the Bay Area, and have since pivoted to pursuing Lauri Markkanen in trade talks. But if that endeavor falls short too, what then? One option that could present itself is a trade for Cameron Johnson of the Brooklyn Nets. Golden State receives Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith. Brooklyn receives Andrew Wiggins, Kevin Looney, Moses Moody, 2026 first-round pick, 2028 second-round pick, via ATL. Johnson is a career 39% three-point shooter, coming off of his 5th NBA campaign, and his 2nd in Brooklyn. He averaged 13.4 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 2.4 assists in 58 regular season games. Wiggins is 2 years removed from his only career All-Star nomination. And the 2 years haven't been kind to him or Golden State. The 29-year-old saw a drop-off last season, especially. Wiggins averaged a career-worst 13.2 points per game on a 45/35/75 shooting split. Now, amidst a dramatic retooling of the roster that saw Thompson leave for the Dallas Mavericks, the Warriors are trying to trade him, too. Evan Giddings of 95.7 The Game reported as much on a July 6 broadcast. I think the Warriors' next order of business is trying to move Andrew Wiggins. Golden State showed us with Klay Thompson, it's about basketball. Wiggins has hurt more than helped the past 2 seasons. Andrew Wiggins has hurt the Warriors over the last 2 seasons more than he's helped them as a basketball player, Giddings said. And so that's why I think we've come to the point now this offseason where they're doing everything they can to detach themselves from him. And the Olympics just happens to be the center point of it because it might be an obstacle to getting off of him if he hurts himself, and I just don't think they want to take that chance. This isn't breaking news. Wiggins has been the odd man out long before Thompson's unrest began. Golden State is determined to move him, and the Nets aren't strangers to taking on former first overall picks amidst a career downslide. Brooklyn acquired Ben Simmons in their dealing of James Harden, at a time when his value was never lower. Wiggins still offers upside as a scorer, and for a Nets team that isn't after a playoff run, could rehab some value with the extra shot volume. After dealing Mikal Bridges to the New York Knicks, Brooklyn is open for business on other veteran talents, like Johnson. Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype reported as much in a June 29 column. Across the bridge, the Brooklyn Nets have chosen to pivot towards a rebuild, Scotto wrote. And other Nets veterans, including Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Bojan Bogdanovic, Dennis Schroeder, Ben Simmons, and backup center Day'Ron Sharpe, are all potential trade candidates to monitor, league sources told Hoops Hype. Johnson is 28 years old. Warriors' Brandon Podziemski praises Stephen Curry's leadership. The current talk surrounding the Golden State Warriors is largely focused on Klay Thompson's departure, so the franchise's attention now shifts to what's next. And for Brandon Podziemski, fresh off his first season with the franchise, he'll likely be thrust into an even larger role in 2024-25. During the recent scrimmages between Team USA and the USA Select Team, Podziemski took part with the group helping to prepare the national team for the Olympics. While much of the conversation was about Team USA, the Warriors' shooting guard was also asked by Sportskeeda's Mark Medina about teammate and Olympic-bound Stephen Curry, and Podziemski had nothing but praise. He's an incredible person. The thing that's different about him in regards to other stars is that people want to play for him. He's a great leader. He inspires others. He doesn't ask for much. He gives everybody the credit and the limelight. He just goes out there and works his tail off as much as he can, Podziemski said. He lets us have our shine. He's a super personable person. People want to play for him. So as a young guy coming in, that's all you can ask for in a mentor. The high praise for Curry is nothing new, as it's rare to hear anything negative come out about the 10-time NBA All-Star, specifically from his teammates. And considering how young the bulk of the Warriors' rising core is, that's a reason for optimism ahead of a new season with numerous question marks. The Warriors went 46-36 last year but lost in the NBA play-in tournament, missing the postseason. After losing Thompson to the Dallas Mavericks, they've added Buddy Hield to step into a big role in the team's backcourt. Still, in a loaded Western Conference, Golden State may need to add even more firepower sooner than later. Paul George breaks silence on near trade to Warriors. Paul George could have been with the Golden State Warriors. The 9-time NBA All-Star believed that he was on the verge of getting sent to the Dubs based on the information he had when his off-season fate was still in limbo. That was a real thing that was close to being done. That deal was close to being done from what I was being told on the situation. They was expressing just how much they wanted me there, how I could have fit in perfectly with Draymond, Green, Steph, Curry. George opened up about the Warriors' failed attempt at bringing him over to Golden State, George said on Monday's edition of the podcast P with Paul George. Trading a player like George was always going to be a tricky one for the Clippers, and whichever side wanted to make a move on the 34-year-old forward. Klay Thompson probably would have stayed. Brandon Podziemski, Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins. They didn't know how or what package was going to be there to trade for me. Kevin Looney was going to be there, and so it was very intriguing, and it was still an opportunity to stay close to home, stay on the West Coast, and it was a win-win, George added. In the end, it was the Philadelphia 76ers who won the Paul George sweepstakes. George decided against picking up his $48.79 million player option for the 2024-25 NBA season with the Clippers and agreed to a $211.58 million contract with the 76ers. While George seems happy that he has a new home with the 76ers, he's not hiding his regret over missing out on the chance to play with Stephen Curry and the rest of the Warriors. I think Steph is a unicorn, one of one player, and Joel's a unicorn, so it was kind of like a good situation to be in the middle of, but ultimately the deal didn't go through. I think Clippers didn't want a certain trade deal that Warriors were willing to give, and yeah, it just didn't happen, but it was close. It'd been dope, man. I was looking forward to it if it happened. George would have been a terrific addition to the Warriors if things worked out between them and the Clippers. At this point, he's mostly perceived as a better, two-way, player than Klay Thompson, who left the Warriors for Texas where he will be playing with Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. In other words, George could have been the big upgrade over Thompson for the Warriors, who missed the playoffs in the 2023-24 NBA season with a 46-36 record. The window for another NBA title with Curry at the forefront of their attack is closing for the Warriors, so it's becoming paramount for them to find the two-time NBA most valuable player the best help they can get him. As for George, he and the Sixers should be a serious NBA title contender. With Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey plus George, Philadelphia has the trio to create lots of problems for opposing teams. In what turned out to be his final campaign with the Clippers, George, who will be entering his 15th season in the league, averaged 22.6 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, while making 47.1% of his shots from the field and 41.3% from downtown. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Paul George? Leave your opinion in the comments.